Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. Today I thought I would do a quick studio tour. I did one at this time last year and I thought it was time for another one. The point of this video is to show you how I organize my space and what my studio space looks like and why it looks like it does, as more than what I have in my studio. So here's just a quick panoramic of the room. It's not very big. I have fully utilized all of the space that I possibly can, and I love it. It's my happy place. I will tell you right now, this is the third voiceover. I'm not going to be able to keep up with what I'm showing you, so some things I'm just going to let be self-explanatory, kind of save my voice and prepare for what I really actually want to talk about. So this shelf sits behind my door, and it's where I keep all of my rubber stamps and my clear stamps, as well as my canvases and my wood panels down on the bottom two shelves. And then on this shelf is my washi tape storage and my watercolor designs and things that I'm working on, as well as my water bucket that I'm able to it's very close to my desk, so I can just throw my stencils in there to preserve them until I can actually get to the sink and wash them out. And then again, canvases and wood panels down there on the bottom two shelves. Right next to that is a Trofast unit. I actually got this used, quite a bargain. And I'm using it primarily to store my mixed media bits and pieces. These are things I've collected from Goodwill. They're things that I've recycled from other sources, and they are kind of my grab and go items. A bin for my punches and my yarn. And then this is my vinyl storage, which I don't do a whole lot of right now, but I hope to get back into it. And that's just my laminator. The top bin is just where I kind of throw things that don't really have a home, or little things that I've worked on that I haven't finished or something like that. And then here is some blank stamped images that I like to have out so that I can just grab them and watercolor paint at my leisure. And then the other one is completed and they're ready for card fronts. These two bins are my cardstock, solid and printed, that I use for card making. A little bit of storage here in these wire baskets of my watercolor paintings, as well as my cards that are already ready for sale, as well as tags and bookmarks and things like that I've made. The space here is really tight, so that's why the camera is super close to the space, because I don't have any room to spread out. This is a variety of paper: mixed media paper, drawing paper, cardstock that I use in my printer, my color wheel, which I have positioned so that I can see it from my desk when I'm working. And this is just a little caddy that keeps a lot of the other things that I don't really want to have get lost in a drawer, but I don't necessarily need them right on my desk. And it was pretty cool there because I just saw a missing magnet on my my stapler, so pretty excited about that. Variety of mediums that I keep in here, some stamp cleaner and things like that. My small palettes that I tend to go grab for when I'm just doing some watercolor images. This is my my alcohol marker storage. I do not have Copics. My gouache paint, which I really hope to play with. I haven't done that a lot as of yet. And then just a variety of acrylic paints in little tubes. Most of these I got at like Tuesday Morning because they were like so cheap and I don't use them. These are my distressed crayons. I let the grandkids use these mostly. I have a lot of water-soluble crayon kinds of products, and I don't tend to use them all. So this is my stamp block storage, which I was really fussing with as I was trying to film here. Has some watercolor pads there in the bottom as well. Down below, right below where I'm showing you, is where I keep my watercolor paper and watercolor blocks there. And then in that that little cubby was just some rag storage where I keep my baby wipes and things like that. And then here I'm trying to open this drawer, and I had put the doors on the bins to the left there, and then I couldn't get my drawers open. I had to set the camera down and fiddle with that. That top drawer has my rice paper, and then here is some jelly prints and some napkins and things. Probably will be reorganizing those. It's not a very good use of space. Distress paints, and then sponges and bottles and things like that. In these two drawers, I have my jelly printing supplies. A lot of these items I've picked up at the Dollar Tree, and they work great for creating texture on your plate when making jelly prints. And then these are my jelly plates, as well as some texture plates below that. A lot of these items are sitting across the room from me because they are not what I consider my grab and go art supplies. They are things that I use, but I don't use them every single time I create. So that's kind of the logic in how I have things stored. I do need to work a little bit more on my storage for these items because I actually do use these and need to find a place closer to where I sit. Still working on some of that. The bottom drawer here is all of my alcohol ink supplies. And again, it's across the room because it's not something that I use a lot. This drawer is all of my metal bits that I've collected. A lot of them are store-bought, but a lot of them are old jewelry and things, again, that were given to me or that I've recycled from old purses or other items that I've thrown out. Tend to see a treasure in most junk. So it's really fun to use these in mixed media. And then this top bin has keys and locks and hearts and angel wings and stars and things like that, and flowers. There is a rhyme and reason to the sorting here. I know what it is. Most people, it might not make sense unless you're in here working in the studio, but there's just some steampunk embellishments. And then this bin is a lot of items that I've already gessoed because I taught a class, a mixed media class, where we did some really three-dimensional work using metal and wood and things like that. So I had pre-gessoed all of those items. So they found their way back into my studio. This is just some molds that I've made using clay. And then some frames. And then back there, it looks like it's just some gessoed chipboard shapes and things that I've had pre-gessoed probably for that same workshop. Again, lots of wood bits, and they are organized by what they are. So I know what I have, and they're easy to find. These Calyx drawer units are phenomenal. If you're looking for a great storage solution, I would highly recommend IKEA products. I don't have anything else IKEA in my home. I don't really like their style, but for storage for my craft room, I love it. This is all of my chipboard from Creative Embellishments. Primarily love their product. And then here again, more wood bits that I do grab quite frequently. They're chipboard and wood. I apologize. They're a little bit mixed up there. I haven't returned to these drawers since I put these things in their new home. Lots of wood shapes, hearts and leaves and flowers and frames and all that those kind of doodads. More chipboard, specific shapes. I like to keep them separated, so that's why they're in little bags, which I'll probably do with some of that other mess that was in one of the other drawers. I don't like my studio to be messy. I don't tend to create well in chaos, so that's why things are very neatly organized. I don't really, these days I don't forget what I have because I tend to go through it quite often to remind myself of what I do have, and it often will inspire me to create something that I have on my mind or something that I had once thought I'd like to do and hadn't done yet. So kind of playing around and reorganizing your studio is a great way to get inspired. At least it works for me. I'm a clean freak. I like things to be in order. As you've probably heard me speak in other videos, I can't create in chaos. It just really dampers my creativity. And here is all of my paper storage. I'm not going to go into detail there. It's somewhat color coordinated and theme coordinated, but I'm not super OCD about that. And then this little turny thing, I don't know what, caddy, I guess, has photo corners and brads and things like that. And over here I have my watercolor envelopes and my watercolor cards. I didn't realize that I had one that was painted there, but those are Strathmore watercolor cards, and they're great for rubber stamping, and they hold up to the watercolor really well. And then this little basket is just a variety of papers, mostly watercolor, and then my Distress watercolor paper cardstock, which I like to use with the Distress oxides, primarily some wood tags. And then this is watercolor paper from Shazan. It's a handmade paper, really, really fun to just play with. And then some Tim Holtz tags. This is my acrylic craft storage. I don't really have a lot in terms of, I guess it's a lot just depending on where you're coming from, but I have such a variety that I do have them split up from what I use and grab and go more than others. And here I just store all of my pencils and markers. So I'm not going to talk about all of those. A lot of these products my grandkids do use as well. So I like to have things for them that they're safe for them to use, that they're not going to be toxic or anything like that. So they pretty much have the freedom to use these items. My Distress markers, they use those a lot. And these are Spectrum Noir Aqua markers. I've had forever, for ages. And then just a variety of things in these little drawers. That's my Bits and Things drawer. I have one for die cuts that have already been painted or colored. So, and this, I need to get rid of that modeling paste. I don't really use it. I got it at Tuesday morning because it was on sale. You got to buy things when they're on sale. Not really. I'm learning. And I apologize, that one wouldn't come into focus, but those are Spectrum Noir glitter markers, and they're fantastic to work with. Kind of messy, but they're really fun. This is the die cut drawer I was talking about. And then it looks like some wood bits and things that have already been pre-painted are in there. And then my gloves. And this unit that hangs on the back of the front of my closet door holds a variety of things. Some more acrylic paints, my watercolor, my liquid watercolor, their brushos, which are really fun. I hope to do a video soon of that. They're pretty fun. And then Martha Stewart acrylic paints, both in satin and pearl. I do split them out from my other acrylics just because that's just how I think. I'm pretty OCD about things going together and brands going together and things like that. So that's just kind of who I am. Some extra paint brushes. Up here I have my Distress ink sprays, Distress paint, and my Nouveau drops. And here are watercolor pencils, watercolor markers, the Arteza Real Brush pens, which my grandkids absolutely love. They love to use those. And then these are my favorite watercolor pencil. They're the Albright Drewer watercolors. They sit really close to my desk in proximity to the rest of the room. I can reach over and grab them from where I'm sitting. And here I just have some paper storage, that's scraps, and then these are like embellishments that are kind of sorted by design and things like that. And then a lot of background papers and things for grabbing when I want to do some art. These are my vintage music and book pages, which have already been scanned, and then a whole shelf of books on the bottom, which have not been scanned. And then on this side of my desk, I have my printer and then all my paper, kind of supply paper stuff. And these bins hold a variety of things, my molds, a lot of wood bits that are larger. These bins will actually be going away. I don't find that they're very versatile. I tend to lose track of things. pretty easily when they're in bins. And so that's why I've been phasing them out and replacing things with the IKEA drawers and the IKEA units, basically. And in there's just a bunch of shells and stuff some friends gave me, which I love. And then my cardboard, which I love to use cardboard in my work. And in this little cart, I have most of my ink pads, my Distress Oxides and Distress Inks, as well as the tools that I use with them. And then archival ink, Memento, Stays On, things of that nature. I have a lot of ink. I tended to really, I'm a, what do they call that? I'm a full set kind of person. I like to have all the colors that I can get. I don't have that luxury anymore because I am, my employment changed. And so I have to be much more frugal with what I choose to buy. These wire units here are very old and they're kind of bent, and that's why they're not opening very well. I hope to replace them with another drawer alternative here in the near future. And they are not sitting front facing to my desk. I have to go around the corner to get into these drawers just because of the shape that they're in. They have to be kind of secured up against each other to not fall apart. So it's kind of pathetic, but I'm a firm believer in use what you have. I've watched my studio evolve over time and I've been able to make improvements, but I am also very fond of being able to use what I have and make it work for me at that time. And then when I come up with a better solution, I do that. Those top drawers are all of my adhesives, glue sticks, and things like that. And again, they don't open in front of me, so I need to definitely have a different solution there. Some ribbon and lace, and that's just Fimo clay. Didn't have a home. And here's the top of my desk. I just purchased this IKEA tabletop add-on unit, which I am absolutely in love with. And then this caddy I've had forever, holds just a variety of things. It's not really the go-to place, but it's a great storage solution for a lot of these kinds of items. My scissors, I do grab all the time, obviously. And then these are Faber-Castell pit pins. And then not the real brush, I'll have to wait till I get to it. I can't remember what they're called. The Zig clean color markers, and then my permanent markers, fine liners, and things like that. Pencils, erasers, glue, and my brushes and palette knives and makeup brushes that I use all the time. And under there, I really like that little nook, worked out really good for this. This is my book where I record all of my videos, and when I'm done creating, I actually sit down before I clean up the table and write down everything that I used, and then I can go back to it when I go to upload my video. And then in this little beautiful bin, my sister gave me this some years ago, are all my grab and go stamps that I use for mixed media. And you've probably seen them in many of my videos there. They're my favorite. And that's why they're there, because I like the ease of being able to grab for those routinely, and they're not kind of mixed up with all the other stamps. This one, also from my sister, that beautiful rose container holds my watercolor brushes. And then in here are my Lindy Stamp Gang Starbursts and sprays, and the Dina Wakley acrylic sprays. They used to be over on the door in that by the closet, not very useful place, and so I recently did reconfigure and moved them over here by me. This is my big fat stencil storage. I've collected stencils for a long time, and I love them. They are a primary tool in my artwork. And so I do have quite a bit, but I store them in this binder because it's easy to flip through, and I usually put 2 in each page so that I can see everything that I have. This notebook is all of my Sean Petit stencils. Super sad that my year with her, being on the creative team with her, is ending soon. I have one more video that will post in August, and then I'm all done. But I'm super in love with her stencil line, and I have, as you can see, a lot of them. Super blessed by that. Love them all. In this basket, I have my Liquitex acrylic inks, as well as high flow acrylics. And then in the bottom drawer, all of my fluid, golden fluid acrylics, which are, again, my grab and go. They are literally like, 12 inches from me when I'm creating, which is optimal because they're my favorite. And up here I have a variety of paints that I've collected over time. Art Alchemy paints there, and then some Jane Davenport. And then more of those little jars, the Art Alchemy acrylic, the metallics, as well as these fun ones that actually change color. They've got whatever they're made out of, they shift, and they're just absolutely incredible. My Marabou art crayons and my Stabilo 3-in-1s, which I have not used much. I don't know why. My stamp platform, my Deco Art Premium paint, Arteza paints. And again, these are sitting right to the right of me in this cube unit on my desk. They are, everything that you see here are the things that I use all the time, for the most part. There are some things here that are just, they don't have another place to be, so they're here. But for the most part, these are things that I use all the time. My sponges, my makeup sponges and things, my silicone mats, and a variety of mixed media stuff, some stickers and tissue paper, little stamp blocks. And these are all stamps that need to find their home back where they belong. Bombay India ink. And then these are pigment powders. And my Karen Dosh watercolor crayons, some Tim Holtz stuff, some little scraps of paper, which I use if I'm going to watercolor paint. I swatch out the colors that I'm going to be using in a project. And those are just handy to be able to reach for. And this is my magical drawer, literally. All of my magicals from Lindy Stamp Gang, magical shakers, as well as the little powders. And then that is embossing powder. One of my favorite supplies. And then this is my small archival inks and my alphabet stamps. And then on this side, I don't grab these things quite as much. That's why they're kind of on the end and often have things in front of the drawers. This is packaging and things like that I've collected over time that I love to use in art journaling. An old pattern, and then some envelopes. And then down below, I have all of my books, a lot of watercolor books, some more journals, my watercolor, that bin has all my watercolor paints in it, and then my caddy that has all of my mediums. It's behind me, so it's not super convenient, but again, the room is very limited, so I have to kind of work with what I have. And I moved a dresser into this room and got a dresser that was taking up a lot of space in my kitchen. And that's why that top drawer is full of, hammers and screwdrivers and things like that, which I use in the studio, but it's a place for us to store our household tools as well. And that's just a mix of some mediums, watercolor markers, and more watercolor pencils and things like that. And then my wood mounted stamps. They used to be in a bin and I never used them because it's just a pain to dig through that. I believe that you're going to use your supplies when they're accessible to you. And here's just another quick panoramic of the room, just kind of showing you the mix of product and personal items that really help me to create. They bring me peace and joy. So I thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.